Making headlines tonight, healthcare officials are warning Barbadians against vaping. Barbados and Suriname strengthening ties in an effort to boost food security. Andromeda Gardens battling a rumor which threatens its existence. And coming up in sports, Barbados is level with Brazil in Davis Cup tennis.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC Newsnight, starting now.
I am Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. Health officials are warning Barbadians that vaping puts them at risk for severe respiratory illness. And the situation is being compounded by people using marijuana oils in the devices. Lisa Broom has more.
There are no figures to show how many people in Barbados are engaging in the trend of vaping, but health officials say it is growing. They say more people are using the handheld electronic cigarettes and their vaping parlors around the island. The Senior Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Arthur Phillips, says they're watching the developing situation in the U.S. very carefully. About 450 people there have had to be treated for serious respiratory illnesses, and all of them have a history of vaping.
This is consistent with some literature that has suggested for a while that vaping may be associated with some irritation to the lungs. But in this particular instance, what they're talking about is severe respiratory distress and individuals in many cases having to be hospitalized. Some individuals actually had to be ventilated. Dr.
Phillips says the vaping pen, as they're called, produces more than just water vapor. He explains that chemicals are produced from the liquid used and they can turn out to be more than just irritants.
We are going to be looking at whether there is any increase in severe respiratory complaints, and if there and for the respiratory complaints that we do see, we are asking healthcare providers to ask whether there's any history of vaping, and we'll be taking a note of that and monitoring that. We'll also be monitoring the investigations in the U.S., the reports out of the U.S. in terms of their Centers for Disease Control and the Food and Drug Administration as they investigate what's happening in their setting as well.
Dr. Phillips says while vaping is legal, the restrictions that attach to cigarette use also apply to vaping. That is, the implements cannot be marketed to children and they're not to be smoked in public places. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kenneth George says there's growing concern about the use of marijuana oils in the vaping pen.
The feeling from out of the United States is that much of the respiratory diseases caused when persons add or use marijuana oils to this. Remember, smoking and marijuana is still illegal in Barbados, and therefore vaping with marijuana oils is an illegal practice and should not be done. It is not recognized as a form of medicinal marijuana by the Ministry of Health.
Dr. George says health officials are open to reviewing its position on medicinal marijuana and vaping as newer information becomes available. Lisa Broom, CBC News.
Barbados is moving to deepen its ties with the Republic of Suriname in a bid to boost local food security and food sovereignty. Word of this from the Prime Minister's Special Envoy to Suriname, Senator Althea Wiggins. One of the major avenues for this to be done is through the implementation of the 2018 to 2021 Brokopondo program. That venture will see both territories collaborating on several areas in agriculture. Senator Wiggins says a plan of action is already in place.
We will be focusing on a number of areas, but agriculture will be the largest area that we are looking at, because we are looking at the whole question of food sovereignty and food security between Barbados and Suriname. You have vast expanse of lands here that we want to come and utilize for livestock, for poultry, for vegetable farming, and we intend to utilize your land in a big way.
Senator Wiggins also disclosed efforts will be made to help Suriname develop its black belly sheep industry.
We're looking at the black belly sheep And the black belly sheep, we want to develop your industry. So we're looking at the exchange of semen and so on, where we can help develop the black belly sheep here in Suriname. Again, because of your vast expanse of lands, you're able to host thousands and thousands of sheep. So we intend, in some cases, we might export the whole animal, but I think they are exporting of the semen and so on.
Corporate Barbados continues to step up in a significant way to assist in relief efforts for the Bahamas. Today, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency was presented with a $6,000 donation by the Ocean Hotels Group. The check is just a portion of a wider contribution valued at a total of $24,000. The Ocean Hotels Group Sales and Marketing Manager Jackie McDermott says the donation represents their support for SEDIMA's mission of building disaster resilience in the region.
Our contribution, therefore, is to demonstrate our belief that as part of the one Caribbean family, we need to stand beside our neighbours, and even when they are in the shadows of despair, they can, with the assistance of these initiatives, receive hope and strength to rise again. Therefore, we also encourage our colleagues in the industry and our partners in the business world to support where they can also.
Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM, David Comachong, thanked the Ocean Hotels Group for their contribution. He says the group, like many locally and regionally, has been quick to act in support of the Bahamas. The CARICOM ambassador also reminded the public that they can still contribute to the SEDIMA Barbados Bahamas Relief Fund.
You can make donations at any branch of CIBC, First Caribbean International Bank, or you can make donations online through your credit card. You can go to the www.riseagainbahamas.com website, and that will direct you as to how you can make online donations. So that account remains open. It's going to remain open for some time. All funds collected are going to be donated directly to the Bahamas' National Emergency Management Agency.
Barbados Prime Minister Mia Motley was honored by superstar Rihanna as she hosted her 5th annual Diamond Ball to benefit the Clara Lionel Foundation in New York. Ms. Motley carries the reputation of being a trailblazer in politics. She was recognized alongside civil rights activist Shaun King. The formal event, hosted by comedian Seth Meyers, was also attended by some of the biggest names in entertainment. Executive Director of the Clara Lionel Foundation, Justine Lucas, says the charity's vision was always to have a great impact in the world, and it has continued to build on that 5 years later. She revealed that in 2019, they have donated over $13 million in grants and helped with more than 60 projects around the world. Currently, the organization is helping with relief efforts in the Bahamas following Hurricane Dorian. Government will be making moves to address the issue of pork imports and their effect on the local market. That assurance from Commerce and Small Business Minister Dwight Sutherland. He says too much foreign exchange is lost and the situation needs to be addressed. He was speaking with the media as Massey Supermarkets officially reopened its Oistins branch after 14 weeks of renovations.
We have to sit with the Ministry of Foreign Trade, the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, as well as the Ministry of Commerce. We have to sit down as a team and see how best we can create that policy space that we can ensure that those local pig producers get their products to market. $1.1 million of 1.1 million kilograms of imports thus far for the year is a lot, and indeed 6.3 million Barbados dollars going out in foreign exchange. This is $3 million in foreign exchange is indeed a lot.
Massey Stores CEO Randall Banfield says the multi-million-dollar renovations not only improve the supermarket's physical layout, but also positions the branch to be more eco-friendly. He adds customers have been sharing positive reviews.
The work was done in a relatively short space of time. We closed at the end of May, and we've opened back here now around the middle of September. So actually for 14 weeks, we've done a lot of things in 14 weeks. Those of you who would remember the old store and who now see this, I'm sure you would be quite pleased with the difference. Our consumers are very happy. You can see there's a lot of traffic in the store. We've had good support and very positive comments, and overall we are really very happy to be back in the Oistins community and to be here playing our part in developing and growing and helping where we can.
One of Barbados' natural tourism attractions is facing an uphill battle and a drought of customers due to a rumor that it's no longer in operation. But management of Andromeda Gardens in St. Joseph is clearing the air. They say the establishment is still open. Our Rianne Phillips has more.
The Andromeda Botanic Gardens in St. Joseph is regarded as one of the most unique habitats in the world and the original garden of Barbados. But the 6-acre property, which was once a magnet for locals and visitors, is a ghost town. Manager's assistant Annalisa Alling says they barely see a fraction of the activity from its glory days.
Some locals say they didn't know about us until we start to advertise on Facebook, and then some of the visitors, some just came in because they're passing by or probably from back home or anything like that. But as in support from our locals, basically like in the hotel industry, is not full 100.
Sharon Cook currently runs the property and insists there are several wow factors at the venue.
There are 500 different species of plants at Andromeda Botanic Gardens. There's no way you've seen them all. We have a double-headed palm, which is so rare. So it's like a single trunk palm, and then it just splits into two. That's rare in all the world, and this is possibly the only one you have in Barbados. We have the Madagascan almond, which is one of the most magnificent trees I've ever seen. I wish it could just be all by itself so that people could really appreciate its beauty. It's got these lovely spreading limbs, and when the light captures the leaves, it glistens. It's just beyond beautiful. We have something like 50 different species of palm in this garden.
Andromeda Botanic Gardens also holds international acclaim, as it is a partner garden of the UK Royal Horticultural Society. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
Co-chair of the BERT Monitoring Committee, Senator Tony Moore, wants government to pick up the pace with its promised retraining and retooling program. Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley announced the initiative last year, noting that it would target those retrenched under the BERT program so they could find employment in Barbados' evolving economy. Senator Moore, who is also General Secretary of the Barbados Workers' Union, says she is looking forward to its implementation.
Not only for people who were retrenched, but that we should be moving towards preparing ourselves for future opportunities as a workforce on the whole, which means that the training under the national initiative is something that we are watching very keenly. We understand that it has started. There's a director in place for the National Training Initiative, and they're continuing to build that team. But we are very anxious and keen to see in place the full implementation of the National Training Initiative.
And while the committee as well as the unions are concerned about the social fallout being seen as a result of government's austerity program, President of the National Union of Public Workers, Akani McDowell, says it is necessary.
The union sees the program as a necessary evil, if I can say that. We may not always agree with what is being implemented, but once we understand why it is being implemented, then we can accept it. I think we have all sat as social partners and understood why the program is being implemented, and we understand the benefits of the program. So therefore, we are all supportive of what is being put forward to the social partnership and the wider country as measures to get us out of this economic difficulty.
In the Bahamas, the number of missing people has dropped by nearly half. This as officials continue to cross-check names across shelters, as we hear from Eyewitness News.
The number of missing persons following Hurricane Dorian has decreased significantly, according to NEMA spokesperson Carl Smith, who said that after cross-referencing with a number of shelters, a vast number of persons have now been accounted for.
The persons who have evacuated the islands are now at 1,300 persons, and this is down from the 2,500 persons that I reported yesterday. You recall that I indicated, I myself, met a lady here who came to report. She reported that a family member was missing, and she came back and reported that that person is been found, so to speak.
However, there continues to be conflicting reports about an increasing death toll amounting to thousands. Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson reiterated the process to identify bodies to add to the official count, which he says now stands at 50.
I know that there are persons making comparison, but the police is not going to be involved in that. Everybody is free to make whatever comparison they wish to make. We're not going to query anybody's opinion, but I will tell you that at the end of the day, we will give you what we recover. That's what we will give you. They're the facts.
A troubling trend is emerging in Jamaica, where people are, listen to this, wearing fashion or fake braces, and dental health officials are concerned, as we hear from TVJ.
Fashion or fake braces look very much like the real thing, but family dentist Dr. Emerson Henry says, unlike the real thing, fake braces may have materials which can be harmful.
Many things can stick to your teeth, you know, so you could use they could use materials that are expired. They could use materials that were not designed to be used to hold the brackets in place, and so it won't stay on the teeth, you know, for a long period of time. And so if you use material, remember your mouth is the first portal of entry of things into your body.
Dr. Henry says persons who wear braces for the real reasons normally have them in for 2 years, but those who wear them in for fashionable reasons have them in longer.
The way the teeth fit together is a delicate balance. So